Crowley Petroleum Services has a variety of articulated tug and barges, which rely on the Intercon coupler system to mechanically connect the tug and barge. Once the units are joined together with the Intercon system, it allows the ATB to function as a single unit. The system primarily has automatic functions, though some aspects of the Intercon coupler do require manual operation and possibly the use of the manual override button. This training is to familiarize you with the Intercon coupler system. With hands-on training and your captain's authorization, you should be competent in performing basic Intercon operations and responding to alarms. You will be required to complete an onboard familiarization and assessment of basic Intercon operation skills and understanding, including physically operating the manual override switch, or Morse, before you can assume a navigation watch. In the Intercon room, there are a number of different components you need to be aware of. High-speed motor, low-speed motor, hydraulic motor, hydraulic power unit, hydraulic control paddles, Trabond system controls, lube oil circulating pump, load cell analog pressure gauge, local control panel, wheelhouse control panel repeater, air control panel. Each ATB has an Intercon room with port and starboard couplers, which are operated with high or low speed electric motors or a hydraulic power unit, HPU. There is a local control panel which allows manual electrical operation of the couplers. Above the control panel is a video screen, which is a wheelhouse control panel repeater and cannot be used to operate the system. There are separate manual controls for operating the system hydraulically and for manual operation of the Trabond pin greasing system. Upon joining the vessel, your captain will brief you on the Intercon coupler system, as well as outline the Crowley Petroleum Services Intercon standing orders, including what alarms to watch for, when and how to use the manual override button, and what Intercon information to log. The CPS Intercon standing orders are the baseline. The captain may have additional standing orders. Each wheelhouse is equipped with port and starboard Intercon control touchscreens. Next to the control screens are a start button, emergency stop button, and a manual override button. While on watch in the wheelhouse, whether underway or at anchor, the Intercon coupler system will normally be in the auto extend mode. When the Intercon system is in the auto extend mode, the locks are on and the engaged force pressure bar fluctuates as the boat rolls and pitches. This is normal. There is also an articulation indicator which shows how much the vessel is pitching in the notch, and lock status indicators which show if the port or starboard locks are on or off. In auto extend mode, the locks are on and the system will monitor the engaged force pressure on the pins. When certain parameters of engagement pressure have been met, the system will engage the clutch of the port or starboard Intercon unit, disengage the lock, start the low-speed motor, and extend the pin until the proper engaged force pressure is reached. The lock is then engaged, motor stopped, and clutch disengaged. Another component of the Intercon system is the Trabond system, which is responsible for greasing the pin bushings and drive shafts. When in auto extend mode, you must select the frequency for the Trabond system to grease the pins. This is done by pushing the box on the auto extend screen, which matches the C state. When on watch in the wheelhouse, it is your responsibility to monitor the greasing frequency based on sea state in regards to the Trebon system. In changing weather, monitor the grease setting and adjust accordingly. For example, if you're on watch and the Trebon system, or grease, is on the calm setting and the seas increase, change the grease setting accordingly. You should see the auto extend system press up periodically. The frequency of auto extension is based on sea state and vessel conditions. Enter the maximum amount of articulation you experienced since the last entry in the deck smooth log, and then reset the articulation indicator. Always ensure you have the Trebon greasing system set to the proper sea state. It is good to err on the high side with grease. In heavy weather, an alarm may sound as a warning that you could over-articulate. Remember, when in doubt, call the captain. Always visually check audible alarms. Do not assume it is just an auto tension alarm, and act accordingly per CPS Intercon standing orders. Never turn off the Intercon system while pinned up, whether underway, at anchor, or moored. Turning off the system shuts down the lube oil circulating pump as well as the Trebon system. Remember, the gear train as well as the thrust bearings are under great pressure and require lubrication whether articulating or not. Intercon advises that turning off the system while pinned up can lead to serious damage. When operating the touchscreen, keep in mind the screen will not be responsive if you touch the screen in more than one spot at a time. Additionally, do not place any items other than the plexiglass cover on the screen, as it obstructs your visibility or can inadvertently activate or damage the sensitive screen. There is an emergency stop button next to each Intercon control panel in the wheelhouse, and one on the local control panel in the Intercon room. It will shut down the electrical power to the Intercon system as well as the control system. This button should never be used without the captain's consent. The Intercon coupler system has a variety of audible and visible alarms. Call the captain and engineer for any alarm other than the alarm for normal auto tension operation. The Intercon display should be visually checked frequently, at least every 30 minutes, and more frequently when rough weather or other conditions dictate. For all alarms on the Intercon system, read the alarm and act per CPS Intercon standing orders. In the event you get an alarm that you've never seen before, are unsure of what the alarm is, or you find the Intercon screen is no longer on the auto extend screen, call the captain and engineer and prepare to use Morse if necessary. It is good practice to read each alarm before acknowledging them, since the alarm banner disappears when you acknowledge or silence it. Do not get too caught up analyzing alarms. Your job is to be prepared to act to maintain connection integrity. The alarm history function will allow the captain and engineer to see alarms which have been acknowledged. If the Intercon control panel has changed to the standby screen, lost functionality, or gone blank, it is a serious situation. Call the captain and engineer and follow the Intercon standing orders. The most important aspect of the Intercon system for anyone on watch in the wheelhouse is when and how to use the manual override switch, frequently referred to as the Morse button. If the tug barge connection integrity is threatened through system control failure or mechanical failure, immediate action is required. The Morse button overrides the normal safety limit switches, engages both port and starboard clutches while simultaneously releasing the locks, then energizes both the port and starboard low-speed motors and presses both pins out simultaneously until the Morse button is released. The Morse button should be used if you feel the boat banging in the notch or if the engaged force pressure drops below 600 psi for an extended period of time with no auto extension. Examples of alarms which indicate the tug is in danger of coming out of the notch and that you may need to use the Morse can be found in Annex 1. An alarm for lock low pressure is an example of an alarm requiring immediate action. Loss of lock pressure should result in an audible alarm, a red alarm banner, a change from green to red of the affected lock indicator, and most likely a drop in engaged force pressure. To operate the Morse, first lift the guard cover. Push the button in and be ready to get both an audible alarm and a red alarm banner stating you are about to energize the Morse. Continue to hold the button in until the engaged force pressure is above 600 psi. If no engaged force pressure is indicated, hold the button until the boat stops banging in the notch. You may need to hold the button for an extended period of time. However, if you hold the Morse button indefinitely after engaged force pressure is adequate, you will overheat one or both low-speed motors, which will render them inoperable for a significant period of time, which may result in coming out of the notch. When you release the Morse button, the screen will return to the auto extend mode. Use the Morse button when necessary. Always call your captain and engineer after use. Anyone with hands-on training and who is authorized by the captain may use the Morse button. Remember, the Intercon coupler system provides a secure tug-barge connection provided certain conditions are met. These include a properly trained and supported crew, routine maintenance, and most importantly, watchstanders who respond in accordance with their training to alarms and situations which threaten the tug-barge connection.